Hi, I'm Paul Kelly. Thanks for joining me inside the Kelly Center here in Havertown, Pennsylvania. Memorial Day weekend 2023, Saturday, May 27th. Our stage, where I'm currently sitting, is going to welcome a singer, songwriter, musician, and author, and part of the Grammy nominated duo, England Dan and John Ford Coley. So many musical achievements and so many huge hit songs you and I both know. I'd really love to see you tonight. Nights are forever without you. We'll never have to say goodbye again. It's sad to belong. Love is the answer. It's my great pleasure to talk with today John Ford Coley. Good afternoon, John.
How you doing today?
Doing fine. Kelly Center here, just outside of Center City, Philadelphia. I know you're constantly on the road. You're originally from Dallas, Texas. So where are you currently living?
I live about 15 miles south of Nashville, Tennessee. Been here for about 25 years.
Beautiful part of the country.
It is. Getting crowded, too.
Can you tell me the last time you played Philadelphia?
I think that was, gosh, where was that? The Park Center Casino, something like that, with Ambrosia and Peter Beckett. Who else was on the thing? Maybe Stephen Bishop. So it's been about 2017. I enjoy coming back to Philadelphia. I just look at all the historical things that are there.
Well, we look forward to having you. This will be a nice welcome to Havertown. The Kelly Center is not a concert hall or amphitheater or a bar. It's a coffee house, a listening room.
Oh, wait a minute. They told me it was a bowling alley and I was going to be able to get nachos. Is it okay?
No, we're doing that after your show.
After the show, okay, good.
So the Kelly Center holds about 100 people, and it's this era's tip of the hat to what was the main point here in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Back in the 70s, were singer-songwriters like yourself, Warren Zevon, Jackson Browne, Bruce Springsteen, wowed audiences with their songwriting and performances. Those days, the 70s, I mean, your music was everywhere upon release. It was on the radio, it was on jukeboxes, in bars and diners. It was on TV before there was MTV, live performance shows, Top of the Pops, American Bandstand, The Midnight Special. Tell me what it was like, that feeling back then. Your phone rings and fielding that request to be on one of those kinds of shows.
You know, it really was a thrill because, again, we never thought that we'd end up getting anywhere close to being able to do that thing, especially work with the kind of people that we worked with. You're kind of in a daze. Things go so quick. You're just running all the time. So you don't really have the time to sit there and really analyze it. You just go, we're playing Boston Pops. We're doing this. We're doing that. And you go, okay, fine. Just send me the list and I'll be gone, Or we're playing with who? Really? I like him. Great. That'll be a fun show. So, you had those kinds of experiences come up. And again, the number of people that you ran across, not only in the industry, but just the number of people that you would come across was always very interesting.
Did you ever think somebody was funning with you saying, Dick Clark's on the line and he'd like to talk to you about being on American Bandstand?
Fortunately enough, I didn't have to take those calls, but I will tell you one thing. That's one man that I love dearly. He treated us so well. We did Bandstand a couple of times, and then he pulled us in on the David Soul special. He pulled us in on Captain Tennille. He was involved in so many shows. And he opened so many doors for us, and I have nothing but admiration and respect for that man.
It's a great story about England Dan and John Ford Coley being booked on the Tonight Show with Gabe Kaplan. Johnny Carson sitting out tonight. I guess Gabe Kaplan was the host. This is in the late 70s. And share a little bit about that performance and the house band that night when you were getting ready to do It's Sad to Belong.
I don't think I'm ever going to be able to live that story down. It kind of got us banned from the Tonight Show.
England Dan and John Ford Coley banned? What did you do?
Thing is, they do live tapings, and so they started Sad to Belong. Well, they started it so slow, and Dan is singing "Met You on a Springtime," and I'm going, geez, come on, guys, and finally I stopped it. And they're screaming at me, this is a live taping, you can't stop the show. I'm going, well, it's too slow, you need to speed this. I'm yelling back, and so they cut in, right when we came in, and the band picked it up. After we got off stage, my manager, everybody's reaming me. Dan's just standing there like, it wasn't my fault, man. Don't take it. So I'm taking the brunt of it. And we never got asked back. So it's like you just don't stop a show, I guess, in the middle of a live taping. So,
And the Tonight Show has never been the same.
they've never been. Yeah, they went downhill, man. It was their fault.
Your songs, I mean, at the time, they were termed romantic songs, and they still are. Today, a lot of your songs fall under the yacht rock genre umbrella. Talk about that genre that has just, came out of the woodwork in the past couple of years, and the fan base that it draws to you.
Well, first of all, those songs, they're timeless. They had such great melodies, and they evoke a memory of the time, back during then when things were a little bit more romantic. And I was watching a thing recently. They put up a show called Sometimes When We Touch. And it got to the third episode, and they were actually crediting all these songs, the revival of all of these songs, to the hip hop rap groups. Huh. And I went, no, they're stealing it and then putting their name on it and stuff. But no, they had nothing to do with it. And it's just so wonderful to have that come back around again. I was telling somebody the other day that I remembered listening to Aerosmith, and they had that break to where nothing would happen for them. And all of a sudden they do Dude Look Like a Lady, and they have a resurgence. And the bass player went, now that's justice. And I thought, that's pretty much so, I guess. So for us, we thought we were dead in the water. We'd never probably be playing music again, become bowling instructors or something. I don't know. And it came back around, and it's continued to grow. So now I'm playing with groups that I never had the opportunity to play with before, like Peter Beckett, and Player, just all kinds of people, Christopher Cross and Orleans and Gary Wright, and they all come out, Al Stewart, Ambrosia. So it's really fun to be able to go out, play those songs with those guys, hear their songs, because again, it was such iconic music, and it was such a fun time for all of us.
Yacht rock themed tours, some of them are around different parts of the country in different states. Sometimes these things happen on an actual boat. Have you participated on one of those?
I have. I went on the rock and roll romance cruise just right before the pandemic came out. We just squeezed in under the line in February. I'm doing another one in April of next year. It's kind of interesting for me being on boats because I'm not a boat guy.
Okay.
And I just sit there, but fortunately enough, I don't get seasick. So I just sit there and eat.
Tell me about the fan base that shows up for these.
The fan base is really a delightful bunch of people. They come in, they've got their yacht rock hats on. They're very enthusiastic because, again, you're surrounded by a lot of people on those things. I think when I played mine, it was Ambrosia, it was Randy Bachman, I can't think of his name from Yes, not John Anderson, but you just have, Little River Band. You have all these guys that they're surrounded by. And again, some of them I'd never had the opportunity to meet or work with. So it's nice to see the excitement from the people because they're out there singing the songs and just kind of swaying with the sea. It's very entertaining.
You've got people that were in their 20s in the 70s, and now they're in their 70s in the 2000s and still loving the music.
Well, the thing is that they're still acting like they're in their 20s. So that's really good.
You mentioned some of the artists that are playing on these tours. Talk about the early days, some of the bands that you were with early on. There's a band named Led Zeppelin, I believe you shared a stage with.
We did. When I was in the band, Dan and I were in the band back in Texas, we had a song called Smell of Incense. And so we actually played with Led Zeppelin. We opened for them in Houston and in Dallas. And then, it just kind of took off. We started opening up for Carole King. And then we graduated to Elton John. We actually that was a very interesting story with Elton John because Dan Hicks and the Hot Licks canceled out on a tour with him up in Minneapolis and in Madison, Wisconsin. And so we got the call. And we played the first show with him, and we just had two acoustic guitars. I didn't even play piano back then. And we played, we're done in 5 minutes. And the sound guys are going, wait a minute, you guys are finished? We're going, yeah, we just kind of need to get a sound. And they said, we love you guys. Come with us. So the next thing you know, we're playing in San Diego with Elton. And then we ended up getting a call from his management saying, we want you guys to come to England. Elton's playing there for a month, and we want you to come for a month. So
Wow.
we to all over England with Elton for that month, the end of 1971. Then we ended up having a #1 hit in Japan called Simone, and they put us on a tour with Three Dog Night. Great guys, love those guys. And everybody's always treated us so well. I mean, like Bread, David Gates and Bread. Those guys, we toured with them everywhere. Just the best people you'd ever want to come across in your life. Great music, and we became good friends with them. So you run across all these people all the time, playing with Gordon Lightfoot or just numerous people, Seals and Crofts, and going all over the place with them. So it was quite a thrill for us, and especially for a Texas boy, because again, I'm a history student, so I know what happened in all these places. Just unfortunately, I never traveled to them. Now I'm traveling to them, and Dan, I'm going, look, over here, this happened, and over here, that happened. He's going, John, shut up. Here, you're a history nut. But it was great for me.
Tell me about Elton. What's he like?
Elton, I love Elton. Elton has nothing but admiration and respect for me. That was one of the hardest working men I think I've ever seen in my life. I remember he was up at 7 o'clock in the morning writing songs. And I thought, good man, no self-respecting musicians even up before noon, much less. What's wrong with this guy? So, I mean, he was truly a master.
You, these days, are you in the studio doing any writing or producing or recording?
I do some. I've done a couple of albums in the last couple of years, one called Eclectic. It's 26 brand new songs. You've never heard them. Had a bunch of people come in and work with me on it. Vince Gill and I wrote a song on it. There was T. Graham Brown and Colin Ray and just, all kinds of people that came in and wanted to sing and play on it. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. Then I did a live album in Israel and in Los Angeles, and just recently put out one called Sketches, which is a lot of songs that I had for demos that I never actually released. A couple were in films, but by and large, it's just songs that I wanted to put out.
Now, you've also released a book, your memoir, Backstage Pass.
Well, I call it my unauthorized autobiography. I did not give myself permission to write it. So, I mean, I hear it's funny. I haven't read it myself, but I hear it's funny. So.
Well, there's another story that I've heard, wrapping up a show, and you're signing albums afterwards, and a woman comes up to you to tell her her connection to one of your songs, Nights Are Forever. And this was a story that took a turn that you didn't think it was going to go where it went. Can you recall some of that?
This lady, I mean, Dan and I had been split up a couple of years. It was over in Chico, California. And after we played, she comes up, very nicely dressed, very corporate looking, all dressed in black, kind of lawyerly. And so then she took me by the hand, had the old LP, got pretty close to me, and she kind of whispered and said, my fiance and I fell in love to your song, Nights Are Forever Without You. We danced to the song. He proposed to me to the song. We made love to the song. We did everything to that song. Not being remotely interested in what that lady's everything might possibly include, I just politely said, well, thank you very much. That woman got about a quarter of an inch from my nose, squeezed my hand so tight it hurt. And then in a voice I didn't recognize as coming out of her before, that sweet, gentle whisper went to, and then that blankety blank so-and-so left me, and I've hated your song ever since. I mean, what do you do? So I just looked at her and I said, cool. I mean, what are you going to do, So, yeah, periodically have things that happen. I mean, in the book, I love stories. Life to me is funny. I don't care. There's something funny somewhere going on. And matter of fact, I've had so many things occur in the last couple of years that I'm thinking about either rewriting the book or just starting from scratch and doing another book in conjunction with that one. But I mean, I like funny. That's why I tell a lot of stories, just to make people laugh. And that's what that book's supposed to do.
Where is that book available?
You can get that on my website, johnfordcoley.com. It's called Backstage Pass. And then I sell merchandise at my concerts as well for people that would like to have some.
So we can count on a couple of copies coming to the Kelly Center when you come.
I think so. I mean, I'm going to have luggage for like a week, so it's good.
I've got a laundromat around the corner, so we'll be able to do that during your set.
No, why didn't I think of that?
Tell me about the set you plan on playing for us when you're here.
You know what? I'm relegated to playing certain songs that people want to hear. There's just no way around it. And fortunately enough, I do enjoy playing those songs. Because I'm playing them acoustically, it's a little bit different, of course, but I always keep the same format that people will recognize the song. All of a sudden, I'm not playing Nights Are Forever Without You in a Lithuanian disco polka style. I'm playing regular stuff. And then I add songs. I kind of like to play songs from the past, go a little bit deeper into the records, maybe play a couple of songs that are new. And it's funny with me because I don't use a set list. Normally something will pop into my head in the middle of another song and I go, I haven't played that song in a long time. And just give it a shot, and sometimes it comes off, sometimes it dies the death of 1,000 screaming quails. But I mean, what do you do?
So we're probably not going to hear the Doc Severinsen version of It's Sad to Belong when you're here, correct?
Probably not. Probably now, maybe the Henry Mancini, It was so funny. There was a guy, I was in the Philippines, and he was really well known, RJ Jacinto. He owns radio stations and everything, but he's a great player. And he goes out and he plays all these 50s and 60s songs. So he wanted to do a version of Nights Are Forever Without You. And he said, now listen to this. Tell me what you think. And he starts off and he goes, I'm thinking, what is this like? Down on the city. I'm laughing because I think, I'm Tina Turner for a second. And or Creedence Clearwater. But it's great, getting those different kinds of styles on things.
Excellent. Well, John Ford Coley, I appreciate your time this afternoon. I can't wait till you come here to Havertown, Memorial Day weekend 2023, Saturday, May 27th. Tickets are available at kellycenter.org. John Ford Coley, thank you. Can't wait to have you here in Havertown.
Thank you much. I'm looking forward to it.